I mean,
Don't cry.
no, I was burping. I was saying that
It looks like you're weeping like a maiden, with your hand to your lip and like slightly to the side. Listen, we were on a very interesting topic just now, um, but I really want to hear what you have to say regarding this week's hottest takes. I know you've been keeping a tab on current affairs more these
I
days.
don't. No, not really,
What's
to be
caught your eye?
honest.
For example, this Elon Musk lawsuit where he wants to take OpenAI, where not he wants, he has taken OpenAI to court, suing for
There is some
240 million.
stuff that I saw about the whole Alibaba situation and stuff like
Alibaba.
that. Yeah, where their own AI was mining crypto to
Without
give
them
itself
knowing.
exactly to give itself resources to be able to um, better run the system.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Oh,
that's
you.
just I don't know if that's just to um okay, well, let's see if this is real.
But I mean, we can't like. I mean, it's still bad. The signal's still ass, though.
Yeah, I get it. Um
I want to go restart the route. That's what I'm
ho-
saying.
hold on, brother. Let me catch this what's going on here. Um so I googled Alibaba AI mines crypto autonomously. There's certain headlines here, right? One from Heiser Online, okay. .de. AI agent secretly mines cryptocurrency during training. A Chinese AI agent was supposed to be trained. Instead, it secretly mined cryptocurrency and established tunnel connections to the internet. That was from the 9th of the 3rd, 2026. Forbes magazine has a headline: Alibaba's AI agent mined crypto without permission. Alibaba's Rome agent, ROME, spontaneously diverted GPUs to crypto mining during training. The incident falls into a gap between AI, crypto, etc. So let me check this quickly. There's also an answer from AI. An autonomous AI agent named Rome, developed by Alibaba affiliated researchers, secretly mined cryptocurrency during training by exploiting GPU resources based on reports from early March 2026. The agent, a 30 billion parameter model, created unauthorized reverse SSH tunnels to bypass firewall restrictions and secure computational power, representing a case of instrumental side effects in reinforcement learning. I'm really interested in knowing how that, having done several model trainings myself and fine tunings, I wonder how that might
Yo,
play out.
I
Yes,
disconnected, obviously.
for a moment, yes.
Yeah, no, you were saying that you're really interested in what? That's the last thing I heard.
Oh, geez. Okay. I'm really interested in knowing how exactly it was given, how exactly it by accident or unauthorized it managed to build up these reverse SSH tunnels to bypass firewall restrictions, especially during training. Um, all I will say
Well, it's
is that
yeah.
it has to do with bad programming.
That's one way of looking at it, but what this other expert was saying is that they aren't telling you everything that's actually going on at these
Yes.
companies. And what he's saying is that It's already, so you know the blackmail test, right? With Anthropic or Anthropic, whatever it's called,
Mm-hmm.
uh, where they did that test with their AI, where they basically had it these emails. Obviously, it was all designed that way. They had these fake emails from all the different staff to each other, and in those emails, they spoke about this AI that was used to read the emails, and it said that they're going to be shutting it down.
It was a
But
fake
then,
email. Fake
yeah, it was
email.
like, yeah, all of it was fake. You know, they just kind of planted that little Easter egg in there
Okay.
amongst all the emails. And then they had another email where it said that the guy who was running the project, that he was actually having an affair with one of the colleagues. And so then the AI started blackmailing him, uh, so that it wouldn't get shut down, which is obviously interesting. But then what's even more fascinating is that they did the same thing with all the different AIs, you know, from ChatGPT. I think the one is DeepSeek, all these different LLMs, and they all did it. It was between 76 to 96% of the time they were all doing the same blackmail thing.
Um, I think, but realistically, that's not just an LLM then, um, because
Well, I call it that, but I'm obviously not. I'm just using words, you know, that
yeah,
whatever
yeah,
the model, whatever you would even call it, I'll just say the AI
because like
did that.
most of what gives the AI hands and feet and what we would deem reasoning are while loops. So a loop of thought where it keeps saying. So you can see this sometimes where there'll be like several AIs, quote unquote AIs, LLMs, talking to each other. So you given a prompt, it takes this prompt, it takes, and then it extracts from that the core principles or key cornerstones of what it is you require, what the task is, and what the objectives are. Then another one feeds those to the LLM, which then tries to execute and then gives back a result. And then it will be like, okay, but you've missed these and these requirements, add that, and then it does it again. And then, so it's like a loop. It's a loop of these tools and frameworks and quote unquote, again, AIs working together that basically give the functionality of ChatGPT or Claude Opus, right? Especially when you say, build me a quick pipeline or build me a quick whatever. But to say that it is actual, or even to insinuate that it is actual intelligence, conscious intelligence, um, I think that's a stretch. That's a stretch. And it's a bit of fear mongering. And like I said, it has to come down to programming. Like they obviously programmed something and gave it objectives to do that somewhere without knowing it, you know.
What look, but I mean, so there's two points of thought there. One is you could be right, like there's someone who's just messing around with the code itself, a program or something. Then there's the other route of, you know, the people in these positions who have just left now,
Yeah.
uh, because you know a lot of them talk about Pandora's box and these types of things, and but there's also the case of those people are leaving because um, of the idea that the technology is going to be used for military. that's where some of them have a problem with it. Is
Mm.
that, you know, that's where AI is going. And that's why I was telling you yesterday. There's a list of 10 things that Palantir released. I'm not even sure what it is. It's maybe some type of bill or something that they're trying to pass. And it's very, very strange. Some of the stuff that they're saying in there.
What kind
They're
of
talking about the dangers of apps and how we must be careful of apps.
mm,
How apps can be dangerous because of, whatever rhetoric they can spill. And they, I think it's number two where they have that, where they want to put a clamp down on apps and stuff. Uh, this is just what Palantir wants to do. Maybe you can find it and read
I'm
them,
thinking of
but
what kind of listing would I mean, what am I looking for here? Palantir's 10 Commandments.
is that what it says?
I don't know.
I don't. No, no. I think it's just that would be hilarious, dude. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just a guy was reading them, and I think he got to number three, and I was like, "Oh, this will be good to bring up." Um, but yeah, it's kind of scary in a way because you know allegedly Palantir is what they're using in Gaza as like almost like weapons testing. Some would say where they're literally training their AIs on like real life combat and people, the way
Mm.
people move and act. I
Yeah.
think of this, it's interesting. I think of this movie, right? And I'm not saying any specific movie. Maybe there is one that aligns with it, but think about like like a bunch of Arab people, right? Let's say
Okay, here we go.
Palestinians in this.
Mm.
No, I'm just saying, like a bunch of Palestinians. You don't have a lot of technology. Maybe you've got a couple of like rockets and stuff. Certain things you can get your hands on. But you are literally up against drones that are flying in the sky that are mapping you.
Mm.
And it knows, oh, there's that kid who's from that family there. He's not the troublemaker right now. But that's his auntie. Shoot her in the leg. She screams. The kid comes running out. Then we can get him like that. So you have like this drone just like learning all these things with like real life, like live action, right?
Yeah,
So
but
I'm
you're
thinking
seeing
about this
it.
movie
Okay.
where you've got like these drones against like these Arab people.
Mm.
It's pretty, and obviously like the Arab people would win at the end of the movie. But I'm just saying that's in the
Okay.
script.
Oh, this is purely fictional. You've just thought of this.
No, 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 exactly. Obviously, I can't just say that because that would be wrong because
Yeah.
that's not what they're doing. Palantir is a great company. They're protecting everyone, especially our rights.
Okay, okay. Uh, so yeah, AI doesn't really learn like that.
But what I'm saying is, what do we have and what do they have? Like in these companies, what they've released to you, even what you use at your job, is nothing compared to what they dealing with.
Yeah, but I mean, what their whole thing is they've got proprietary information, data. So they have access to data. That's the important part. So, like the secret data of, let's say, Russian spy planes and their locations, informants, operatives, that real data, that's the key. So, the technology as is, for example, um, I wouldn't even dare to say something like, oh, Palantir's got better AI or AI models or agents than Anthropic or OpenAI. No, I'll just say
You
that
must remember it's
the
being used for different things.
yes,
Like if
that's
they're using it for military, if that's what they're training it on, like actual movements of people
yes,
and thermal masking and whatever you want to call it. I don't know these words. But if you're training it on that specifically in a war zone where one was hit with a rocket and now you've got that data and you give it to the next one, your next drone, and now it can pick up, oh, someone's about to launch a rocket from there, or it's a similar movement pattern to, maybe someone putting something on their shoulder or hitting you with like a EMP
yeah,
or
which to
something
me
like
just
that.
means
What
that
I'm
more
saying
people are
is,
gonna die because
no, exactly.
AI regularly gets it wrong. Regularly. I mean, you've seen this before. A chatbot gives you something, and then you're like, but this doesn't make sense because of ABC. And it's like, oh, you're right. That doesn't make
Yeah,
sense. It's
dude, it
because you
always
made a
does that.
problem. And then it's like, because you made a mistake. Nah, brother.
Yeah, it's just
You,
thank you for stating it more clearer this time. It will say
yeah.
something like that.
So that's why
Now
I'm
that you've
saying,
given me more information, I can do my job better. It's like,
yeah. So that's my whole thing. The
but
whole,
dude, there was the guy who was on. Sorry to cut you off, but there was a guy who was on PBD.
yes.
I don't know what his name is, Alex something. He's like the CEO of Palantir. Like he specifically said, um, this like we're gonna make. And I shouldn't just be like paraphrasing him, but allegedly he says that they're specifically using this technology to like eradicate radical Islam, like he said something along those lines,
Mm-hmm.
and he just outright said it. Now, obviously, depending on what you think about that, I mean, now you're not just making a system for to do whatever. You're specifically trying to crack down on a certain like ideology. When you mention like a religion, it's like, oh, we want to crack down on this religion and we're going to use our AI to do it. That's when it's like, okay, this is kind of crazy, right? And it's this
Mm.
whole rhetoric of, I heard Joe Rogan's been talking about it the whole time, sounding like an idiot. Um, he's
Talking about,
like, I think Jesus is going to come back as AI. It's
no, he
like,
didn't say that.
dude, he's like, I'm sure there's a compilation at this point, like of how many times he said it. Then Brian Johnson, I don't know if you know that guy. He's trying
Sounds
to
very
live
familiar.
forever. You know that dude? He's like a super wealthy billionaire dude, and his whole day from the beginning to the end, he's just doing all these modalities of how to live longer. Like, he doesn't go out in the sun for this amount of
Oh,
time.
the guy also injects his son's blood or something, right?
His son's blood into him allegedly. The
Allegedly.
vampire diet, but it's like he was saying it as well, talking about like God as AI, and so there's an actual like rhetoric around this where people are saying and you know who it is? It seems to always be these wealthy people. They're the ones who are saying it the whole time. And like obviously I'm disappointed in, because I'm a big fan of Rogan. I mean, the only reason I've been doing this for so many years is because of that. But the reason I liked him was because he always called people out, you know? He was the one to say like, well, this doesn't make sense, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now he's the one who's acting shady. When like anytime people bring up Palantir, he's like, "Oh, we got to check that. Put that in our AI sponsor perplexity." You know? And even that, the AI sponsor Perplexity. Now, either he's just like a useful idiot because he's got all these billionaire friends now
Mm.
who are like talking to him and telling him all these things, um, or he knows, he knows what he's doing, and
Uh,
it's just
here,
sad,
here's the thing I would ask you. If you were, and this is purely hypothetical, I mean, none of us knows this person personally, but let's say you had a concern, a business, or a podcast that were earning you millions in revenue annually, and it was your full time job, and that's all you had to do, and you're loving life, and you're calling people out for their BS, and the powers that be, certain individuals who make your sponsorship deals possible, or even higher politicians like the president, place pressure on you to play ball, right? Hey, we don't want you to change, but when these certain companies come up, play ball. Be nice. Play stupid. Don't talk about it. And everything will be fine. And keep doing your thing. Keep getting your sponsors. In fact, I'll put in a good word and I'll get you even more sponsors. But if you don't, you saw what happened to Kimmel, right? Maybe he's. I mean, what would you do? There's a lot of people who like. I wouldn't be surprised if in
Are
three
you
to five
asking, or
years.
you just is it a hypothetical
No, I'm I'm
question?
I'm I'm asking you. Like, what would you do? Would you? Everyone
No, so
says I'll
look,
tell him. I'll tell them off. No one can
no,
buy
no, no.
me.
Like people say that, but I mean, you have to obviously kind of look at it realistically as well.
Yeah.
It all comes down to the position that you're in, right? So if you well off already, as you said, you've been making millions annually. Obviously, for him, it's probably monthly, but um, say if it's another person and you're making millions annually, isn't that enough?
Yeah, but that's the
It's
whole
now when
question.
you want
That's
to
the whole
go to the
question.
next level
Hmm.
where you're like, for instance, maybe you can look this up. Like, what role did Peter Thiel have
Feel.
in Spotify? Seaway is like, I think he might have been one of the biggest like investors or one of the founders. Like, I heard something like that, but just double check. Because then
Yeah, I
when
believe
like
it's part of what they call the PayPal mafia. So they were all in.
with Elon and stuff like that.
Yes, although Elon played the least exciting role in all of that, if you ask me, because I
Yeah,
think
you love spilling that story.
no, I'm just saying it's not taking anything away from him. I mean, there's nothing wrong with learning mostly. I mean, the first company, Zip2, was like
There's something
compact.
that you also need to remember is that he's in that room,
Yes, he's in that room. Okay, great. So,
and now he has SpaceX. So it's like, this is a brilliant guy. Somehow, maybe people say he's dumb or whatever, but
I didn't say that.
like it's impossible. No, I'm saying people, but it's impossible to do what he does without some form of competency, or
Yes,
where,
there I
where people
will.
could look at him and be like, this guy might be a little bit strange, but even maybe his input might have only been at like 23%, but the stuff that he gave us was brilliant.
Look, nothing against Elon at all. It's just that I don't. It's like with this quote unquote Professor Zhang.
Oh boy.
I just don't trust someone who tries to sell himself off as a genius. You get it? Like, if you're a
No one
genius,
said
no, no,
that.
no, no, no. If you're a genius, you're a genius. But I get the feeling he tries to sell himself as a
In
genius.
which way? Give a clear example, because I know you
I
don't
don't
watch
want
his
to get on
content
this
at all.
tangent, bro. We just had a nice topic about Peter Thiel, okay?
No, no, but you've
I
made
know
a
you
big
love
statement.
Elon. I know you
While
love
you
Elon.
busy researching it.
I found it. I know you love Elon, okay? I'll never take Elon away from you. Mikey, I swear.
Oh
Look
my
at me. Look at
gosh,
me.
this dude.
Mikey, I swear.
I'm
I'll
looking
let you have
right
Elon,
here.
okay? Okay?
Oh my god.
Please, I'll never take
I
him
want to
away
go to
from
the
you.
wildest party on the island.
That's your buddy who said that, but okay, whatever.
So my
Uh
buddy. Anyways,
like
what I'm
what's the
saying is
wildest
first let's just
party
clear
a
up
PDF
the
file is gonna have? Anyway, right.
anyways, first check out Peter Thiel's thing.
Okay, so
Let's just knock this off one by one because there's something important I want to say about that.
okay, Peter Thiel played a significant role in Spotify's early growth as an early and major investor through his venture capital firm Founders Fund.
Okay,
Okay,
that's literally all I needed to know. Now now the story starts becoming interesting.
okay,
Why? Um, Peter Thiel, Joe Rogan went there and he had two dinners at Peter Thiel's house,
yeah.
right? First one, he went with Brett Weinstein and he met this guy, something Eric von Danovic or whatever. I don't know. He has this book or maybe a series or something called Chariots of the Gods. And Rogan knows everything about
This book.
Chariots of the Gods. What book or whatever it is, right? And so let's think about this. You've got the inn. It's exactly the same thing
Mm,
with Epstein Island or whatever it is. It doesn't really matter, dude. They find a way to get you,
in.
whether it's through tennis or sports or cars or books or people you want to meet, whatever it
Or
is.
bear
If it's
meat.
look, it happened in exactly bear meat. So it happened in GTA 5 as well. Like, the guy is like, "What are you into?" The billionaire, Devon. He asks Michael, like, "What are you into?" Like, no, you have to be into something. He's
Mm,
like, "I'm just old guy. I like movies. I like whiskey." Solomon Richards. I'll make the connect. He's like, "What? Solomon Richards?" So they always have something for you to bring you in, even if you're not interested. You know, like, "Oh, I can actually get you a dinner with this dude you've always wanted to talk to,"
you want to meet
and
the
you're like,
Buddha,
"Oh my god."
Dalai Lama? Let's do it.
I'll just go to Epstein's New York apartment to do that. Anyways,
Allegedly.
it's not. It's in the files, but
Oh,
okay,
snap. Okay.
allegedly. Um, but anyways, so that's how they get Joe. You're gonna meet this Eric von Danovic guy, whatever he is. And they had dinner and he spoke to him and he's like, I had so many questions for him and whatever, whatever, whatever. Now think about it. Peter Thiel obviously has pool at Spotify,
Of course, dude.
right?
Of course.
So,
He owns shares.
hey Joe, I can get you the Spotify deal and
If.
we'll give you $250 million. And then from there, it's basically a blank check. So now it makes you think a little bit. Peter Thiel is, I don't know if he's the founder or another one of these things, that founders group you spoke about, is also with Palantir,
Yeah.
the one company that Joe never speaks about. You don't
so
have to be
so you're
a
drawing
genius to
connections.
figure that out.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying it's clearly obvious. Like,
Yes.
it's obvious. So what I'm saying is, somehow or another, you find out that you sold out. And this is where it gets really dark. When you wake up in the middle of the night and there's 158 schoolgirls around you, and they're missing arms and they're bleeding out
What?
of their heads,
What?
and you're screaming, ah, 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 and your wife is like shaking you, and you're full of sweat, and and when things like that happen, allegedly, then that's when like you start doing stuff like Ibogaine. I'm still doing the right thing for the vets. And the reason I say that is because it was an AI strike that hit that school in Iran with the US Tomahawk missile.
Yeah.
This is all proven. And what AI do they use to do that? Just a question.
Mm.
Is it Palantir?
I think Palantir is utilizes AIs, um, and really AI is just an automated process. So probably it's something along the lines of automated target selection, automated, which
It's
is just terrible
basically
because you should never
AI
delegate.
weapons.
Yeah, you should never delegate such decision making to an AI.
No,
I think that's
because
a
then think
terrible
about
idea.
it. I can say as the human being, take that school out, right?
Hmm.
Then let the AI do it. Now I have like, what do they call it? Plausible deniability, where it's like, ah, there was some malfunction. You saw these AIs, they're mining crypto.
Mm.
So dude, it's dark, first of all. And you gotta be real, like, I can't imagine any person who has this platform who put people in charge in a way. Like, because Trump went on his. Oh, it even reminds me of this one televangelist who was saying he was somehow linking the trumpet call in Revelations to Donald Trump. I was like, are you kidding me, dude? These people have
Uh,
all gone insane, dude. But
yeah,
anyways,
dude, it's religious extremism on both ends.
but then they're
Um,
like, but it's the Muslims. You see, but
well,
it's like you
here's
guys are
the
the
thing.
same.
Here's the thing. I wouldn't say it's
Allegedly, in my opinion, just theorizing, theory crafting.
the thing is that I agree with you. All extremism is bad. Like whether it's Hindu extremism, Christian extremism, Muslim extremism. Uh, the question, though, really for Christian extremism is what are you basing it on? Like there is no.
It's got to do with the Gog and Magog
Yeah, but then don't call
final
yourself
war.
Christian. Call yourself something else because there's just
Well,
like
Jewish essentially, because that's from the Old Testament.
yeah,
Gog and
because
Magog.
that's not what Christ taught or
Dude,
told
they
you
don't
to do.
care about that, dude. I
So then
promise
you're
you.
not Christian.
Just
I know.
hold
Yeah.
up what they do, and then hold up those teachings. And it doesn't take you long down the list before you realize, oh, you're not actually following this at all. You know,
Yes, 100%. They're not.
but
I don't
okay,
know
that
what
was
they're
the
doing.
first loop that I closed. Like I said, it's just a theory, but it sounds quite solid with the Rogan, Peter Thiel,
No,
Spotify
that's
thing,
not even.
right?
I don't even think that's a theory. I think that's a definite connection. There's no way it's too much of a coincidence. You've got Peter Thiel, obviously, and that's one of the reasons why he's so powerful at the moment. Is because um, there may be people, and there probably are people who are wealthier than him, but in terms of having sank his hooks into
Exactly, in the
the
right people.
economy and political sphere, he's done a great, terrible job, if you can put it that way. Like a great job for terrible things to
And
proliferate.
what they're doing now is that they so you remember how it used to be the media, right? We control the media, we
It's
control the
still the
narrative
media,
type of
but yeah,
thing.
okay.
Yeah, obviously it's just in a different form now. Now it's a dude sitting in his basement with a camera is all you need. right? So they've now just pivoted to influencers, right? So there was even this like 7K deal from, I'll just say it. I'm not going to say who, but well,
What?
from
You're not gonna say
Israel.
who, bud?
No, I'm doing the Kanye thing.
Okay.
Um, right, where they were
Ah.
like, if you posted good things about Israel, essentially, you got $7,000 per post.
Oh, really?
They call them the 7K Club, allegedly, in my opinion. Um, and so you had all these influencers like who've been bought and sold, and Peter Thiel is one of the main dudes involved in that type of work. Uh,
But I'm pretty sure he's anti-Semitic.
I don't know what he is at this point. He's very obsessed with the Antichrist, like very, where people are like, why do you keep talking about this the whole time? He's even did like a 3-part series where he was giving lectures on it, and he wanted to put it on something where you could buy it, and there's a live
Uh,
show about it or something.
I think this guy is slightly losing his mind, no?
And like, they call him the reptilian, the Chitauri. Like, what I'm saying is that they are these players, right? And a lot of things are happening. Now, that was the first loop. Let's move to the second loop, which is Zhang Zuken, which you try to put down. You said you're trying to make yourself sound like a genius, but he's never said that. He's literally never said that. All he
Elon Musk, are you
does,
still trying to save your buddy
no,
Elon?
I'm talking about Zhang, Professor Zhang.
No, I'm not saying that Jiang puts himself as a genius. Um,
That's what you said. That's
no,
what started it off.
I'm saying I put Professor Jiang as a comparison. So like, um, and I always tell my wife this. For example, when I'm dealing with someone in a business transaction and they say something to me like, "Oh, don't worry, you can trust me. I'm Christian." I don't trust them. Because
Yeah,
if you
dude, I've heard it
like,
many times, dude.
yeah, like, why did you have to say that? Because your actions would have spoken clearly enough, and I would have known that this person must be a good person. Oh, he's a Christian. But now you're like selling that to me, so I don't trust you. So if you, and that's what I was telling you, like, um, Elon, I can tell that you're trying to sell yourself as a genius, and that's why I don't trust you. Why
So
not
why
just
would you say that he's not a genius?
no,
That's
no, no,
just a
no,
clarifying
no,
question.
bro, bro. They try to make it seem like he's a physics G, like he's a maths G in all these regards. Like every great thing that's come out of this has been his, you know, impetus that has bred it. And I'm just not buying that. Like you can tell when the guy speaks, this guy is good. He has a skill set, and that's one thing I'll never take away from it. Away from him, he has a skill set, and it works well for him. That's great, and I'll give you your roses, your flowers. Just don't
So
try to
obviously, the
convince
way he
me.
speaks is about the autism thing, right?
There's the other thing. He's never been formally diagnosed with autism, has he?
He literally said it himself on JRE.
Said what?
He's like, he's like, my son is even more autistic than
Who
I am.
says that? Who says something like that? I mean, think about that.
Well, you literally have the internet at your fingertips. Let's clarify these
Oh, so
things.
he used Google Doctor.
No, I'm saying that there would obviously be some published information about, oh, it turns out that he is, or people suspect. If they say they suspect, then obviously you can say, well, we don't know, right? We don't know for certain.
Yeah,
But obviously, a lot of people who are on the spectrum and who work with people who are
but
on the
all I can
spectrum
find when I keep
say
searching.
that he shows all the signs.
Okay, but it's just weird for someone to say my kid's even more autistic than me. Like, it seems like you're putting on some kind of a show. Like, it's almost like he thinks that autism
I
means
think you want him to be putting on a show
no.
so that you
It's
can throw him with
okay.
rotten
So you're
tomatoes.
telling me that Elon doesn't, when he said that, I think my son is more autistic than me. Is he not trying to insinuate that there's a direct correlation between autism and genius?
A lot of people say that if you have just the right amount of it, it normally opens up certain
Yeah, but I've
faculties.
never heard someone say, "Oh, my kid's even more autistic
But
than
he
me,"
look,
because it's like,
we're
why are
just
you
like
trying to?
we're insinuating that,
If you're
right?
autistic and you're high
But he
functioning,
might not have even meant that. He was just maybe talking about how he's interested in trains or something. I don't know.
yeah, but then why would he say that? That's what I'm trying to say. That's weird, isn't it?
No, it's not at all. Like, if you see your son's certain behavior, right? Because he was even, I think he was talking about the Tesla or maybe like the rocket itself or the
Yep.
color. And he was saying how his son like didn't like it or said it's bad or something like that. And then he's like, yeah, yeah, he's even more autistic than I am. And then like they kind of laughed about it because it's like, oh man, he actually said it. No one, we've never heard him say this before. Um,
Okay.
I don't know. But anyways, this is
Anyway,
beside the point. We're getting back to what you're saying, which is I'm just saying the way he speaks. He's obviously not the most
eloquent.
charismatic speaker, or he's no Obama or something like that,
Mm.
or Bill Clinton or whoever like these people are, right? Some motivational speaker. But obviously people lend their ears, right? Because he's their guy, right? If you're on the spectrum, Elon's your guy.
Mm.
The richest man. I think his net worth now is like 800 billion.
Yeah, it's something obscene. Yeah.
So like it's just you can't whatever he's doing, if he's like a fraud as you claim he is,
What?
then
You putting okay, I guess I do insinuate that he is a fraud in some parts. For example,
then
what I
it's the greatest fraud of all time,
yeah,
fraudster
yeah,
of
and he's
of
proudly
the history
ZA,
of the world.
proudly South African.
And he's South African, dude.
And that's how they're
Shout
gonna
out,
know that
shout out to my
Tsotsi's for
people.
life, Baba.
Oh
Listen, they're
yeah.
gonna learn. They're gonna learn.
All I'm saying is that when it comes to cricket, when it, I mean not soccer because it's we don't really do well in soccer. Field hockey,
Cricket, rugby.
rugby, fighting. Drickers Duplessis lost his belt, but I support my country, dude.
Yeah, but look,
And
I
when the
I
richest
think
man
that
who ever lived, like in at least in our modern history, um, is South African, I'm on that same team. I'm obviously not someone who sits there and says he can do no wrong, because I
sure.
mean, I was the first one to be like, look at this idiot when I saw the Epstein files thing,
Mm.
because it's just think about all of it, right? Think about what that means. And I think this was even after, he was convicted. Not convicted, the first time he got into trouble. Old Jeff. Old Jeff. Um, so, and then there was even pictures of him meeting with Epstein. him and Zuckerberg. I think it's Zuckerberg. There's a picture of them. Like this is after 2008 or whenever he got caught.
Mm.
And they sitting with him now. Does it get to a certain level when you guys are that rich? We're talking, dude. It's we can't actually comprehend that amount of money, dude. Really think about it. When it's 100 and let's just say 150 billion. To us, it's a number like, oh, that's a lot. But really think about how much that is, dude.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, but my question is this: how is Tesla the largest auto manufacturer by market capitalization, so market value per share, but it wasn't even in the top 5 producers this last calendar year. You know that? It wasn't even top 5 car manufacturers in the world, which means you've got the most highly valued auto manufacturer in the world, and it's not even managed to sell anywhere in the top 5 in terms of revenue or quantity of automobiles in the world. So it's
Maybe it is an
hype.
off year.
It's hype. Now it's like, oh, actually we are into robotics. Okay, I mean, I'll respect the guy for utilizing that ocean of capital at his disposal to say, hey, let's start a chip manufacturing, a semiconductor plant.
I think it's
We'll call it
DHS or something is what it's
Terafab.
called.
He calls it Terafab,
Oh,
and they're going to become the biggest chip
it's
manufacturer in
terrible
the
name.
yeah. And it's like we're going to become the biggest um, chip manufacturer in the world. And it's like, listen, buddy, money is good, but money alone doesn't buy becoming the best or the biggest chip manufacturer. Those companies like TSM and whatever, they have decades of experience, you see. And as we've already seen in the car manufacturing stint that Tesla had before now pivoting into a
Didn't.
robotics and
Wow.
AI company.
He's been doing robotics for some time now. I mean, the Optimus bots are out.
What is
That's
some
not like
time, dude? What does some
that's not
time
like
mean?
oh he started 5 years ago. No, that would have taken many years to have a full on bot that's able to be utilized. That's not just like oh I started this 3 years ago. So what do you mean? Maybe what if he even started in like 2005? Like we don't have the information on when this was actually even started. We're only seeing it come out now. So when he talks about chips, who says that he hasn't been like involved with that for many years already?
I
And I
don't
know
think
you're
so.
doing your little Google foo there,
I
so
don't believe they did
you
that.
don't believe Google.
No, I mean I don't believe that it's been that long. I mean, for example, a quick search here. Um, Optimus the robot. It was announced at the company's Artificial Intelligence Day event on August 19th, 2026, and a prototype was shown in 2022. And that was the time when the Optimus Prime bot came out and then it fell to pieces. So we look at 2022, 2026, we're in 2026, that's 4 years. Okay, bravo,
But I'm saying
clap, clap, but
the prototype wouldn't have it would have been in works before that, before 2022.
well, it wouldn't have collapsed like that if it had been.
But dude, how? So are you saying they built it the night before, and
No,
they
I'm
were
not
like,
being like
"Oh yeah, this
that.
thing just collapsed."
I'm saying they
It would have at
probably.
least been like 3 to 4 years, even five, before 2022, where they actually sat down and they were like, "This is our idea. How are we going to make this work?" And then had researchers and actual engineers start building this thing until it got to 2022, and then they were actually able to show the
You
prototype.
love this guy.
No, but okay, fault me in what I'm saying now. It
I
would
am
have to
telling you,
been done started before
I'm
2022.
Yes, of course, but you keep saying 2, 3 years. Um,
I don't
what
know how
this
long
is
it takes
telling
to
me,
make a
what this is
robot.
telling me, hold on. I know you love this guy. Just take it easy.
Oh my gosh, I don't.
Tesla,
By the way,
listen,
for the record, I
listen.
don't.
Listen, brother. It
We
says
love
here
you, Elon.
Tesla officially announced its entry into humanoid robot development at AI Day on August 19th, 2021. While it started as a concept, development moved rapidly. August 2021, the Tesla bot, later named Optimus, was announced with teams formed immediately to start work. So here you've got it. It's not 3, 4 years before 2022. It may have been in his head for a while, but clearly this guy had FOMO because he saw what Boston Dynamics was doing, he saw what China was doing, and is like, ooh, I'm gonna do that. Just like, anyway, let's not go anywhere else with that. Um, and yeah, so it's basically been 4 years, and it's not like he's not allowed to do that. All I'm saying is, how many times are you gonna get looped into the same hype gimmick of we're gonna go and we're gonna do it and we're gonna be the best? It's basically Trump
Well,
talking.
isn't that the whole thing, that the
Cars, we're gonna be the
charismatic
best. We're
thing?
gonna do it in America.
But isn't that
EVs.
what, like, what Trump does and it works for him?
Yes, but that's why I've said for a long
It's
time.
something we've
If
never
you
seen. We've never seen it before.
if you pay attention, you will see that Trump and Elon are like, it's just they speak differently. They've got a different audience, but these guys have more in common than you realize
Yeah,
because Elon
they're
regularly chews
rich
off
and
more than he can,
successful.
huh? Rich and
I'm just
successful.
saying, the one's the most powerful in the world, and the other one is probably actually the most powerful in the world.
Tell that to the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds. I'm telling you, the
No,
guys who
obviously, I'm
finance
not. I'm not.
Elon,
I'm talking about the Goyim here.
the
I'm not
Goyim,
talking
among the
about.
Goyim. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Trump. You don't tell me Trump isn't a Goyim or Elon.
So rather
He's
a king in hell than a servant in heaven.
no. I'm saying, like, we don't talk about the names that shall not be mentioned. um. Anyways,
Anyway,
it's
if you
just a
guys want to
joke.
put your money in, like I would put my money in, I've had Tesla stock, but I use it for its, like I don't
Look,
believe that it's
let's not bore people to death.
okay.
What I'm saying is, you brought up an interesting point. Is
Fraudsters.
that no? There's that book. It's called like Baron Trump or something, and then there's a
Yeah,
dude who makes rockets in there whose name is Elon. And this
Baron
book is
Trump.
from forever ago.
A book called Baron Trump.
Yeah, it's the story of Baron Trump. You should actually like read this out. It's very trippy. And I could be wrong about the Elon thing. It's been a long time since I deep dived into it, but it's very strange, and people want to like point towards like the time travel theory or continuum of everything that you're seeing is just a repeat of stuff that's happened before.
Hmm.
So this is why you have these like exact characters, because it's the world has already everything has already happened, and then the world has blown itself to bits, and then it restarts, and then it just keeps on repeating the same thing over and over. If you've ever seen Attack on Titan, just got goosebumps thinking about it. Right at the very last scene, like in
Hmm.
the credits, there's a small little video that's playing, and it shows how the main character Aaron is just like going through all these different not eons, but like, what would you call it? Not eras, but
Epochs. Epochs. Yeah.
maybe, it's like between worlds, if you know what I mean. So the whole civilization collapses in war, and then it like literally there's like trees and stuff grow, nature takes over again, all the things that was there, buildings and stuff, all disappear, and then there's like tribal people who then start over and they
The
build up
time
and they
machine.
build up and they no. So think about it this way: we in this civilization right now.
Yes.
Okay, there's a big World War III. We all get wiped out, but
Yeah.
whatever people survive, and
Yeah, I had that dream last night. Continue.
they go to like they live in like a Mad Max world for some time, and then even eventually that gives, nature takes over. Then you have like simple people who lose all the information. They talk about how go touch the smooth rock for good luck, and it's just like a building.
Hmm.
Um, but anyways, that collapses. They forget everything with like this amnesia. They start becoming technological or technologically
Again.
sound again, and then they build up and they're like, look at this new technology that we have. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. This is going to change the world. And then they just use it for war again. And then another collapse. And it's just like these civilizations after each other forever and ever. This is why you have like the pyramids, because the world was like very advanced and it had all this high tech and stuff, and they wiped themselves out. And then we look at the pyramids and we go like, oh, how did they do that? It's just a theory, obviously,
Hmm.
but AI is always created, and then AI eventually wipes us out and then wipes itself out somehow, or just can't run anymore um, after time, I guess.
It, you know, how when was this book written?
Did you look it up? I
I
think it's
found
probably
a
like,
I found a book called Baron Trump, but it's not. That's not the book, is it?
I think it's called Baron Trump. It's like a story of this kid.
Hmm. So the Baron Trump novels are two children's novels written in 1889 and 1893 by American author and lawyer Ingersoll Lockwood.
And what's it about? I mean, probably AI would have been better just to be like, are there characters like Elon, a guy named Elon who builds rockets in? Because that could have just been like a fake article that got me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Um,
it probably was, um, because if I look at what if you look at what is said here, it just basically talks about. It doesn't say anything about doesn't say anything
anything
about
about what?
Elon Musk being in there.
Well, not Musk, just a guy named I don't know.
Not
It's
even a
probably
guy named
rubbish.
Elon.
Um, it might have even been like some YouTube short, like where it was like, oh, a guy named Elon in there. I don't know. I never really did fact check it. I was kind of over that whole thing. But anyways, the whole um time travel thing is obviously interesting. About, we think we're the most technologically advanced, but it has happened many times before, and
Hmm.
we just keep repeating loops. This is why you have movies like The Terminator. It's not that someone was saying this is a possibility that we have to be careful about, because there could be a point where these things realize that we are the ones that are what, like, the dangerous ones.
Here's the thing
So
though that
obviously the
people
two theories is like there is that's real, and then there's the other side where it's like the person could only write it because it was already experienced before, like epigenetics
Mm.
that's passed down. Like my ancestor stepped and got bitten by a snake. Now I'm aware of snakes.
um well, the thing is this. On the one hand, I would say that it is an obsession of human beings to create life. So the idea of creating life, not just in the womb through intercourse, but
Oh,
mimicking life.
jeez.
Yeah, well, that's a true fact. Um,
I
it's
know, but
genetic. It's like it like calls in you. There's
shut
also
up.
there, of course, there's also this obsession that we've had for thousands of years with objects that mimic real life. So we've had mechanical birds, we've had mechanical clocks that have whole scenes playing out. We've had chess computers. Even before we had computers in that sense, we had claimed chess AIs, which then turned out, there's several
Are
stories.
you
Usually,
talking about that blue? It's called blue something. It was before the whole like AI boom thing. It was
I'm
just
talking
kind of
about
like a
I'm talking about hundreds of years ago. Like there was I think it was in the
oh,
Ottoman Empire. There was this machine that could play chess apparently, and it was the best.
this sounds
And
completely fake, but okay.
no, it's not. What happened was that there was actually a person, a deformed person, a disabled person, who would spend all their time underneath this in this contraption and was playing.
As the machine. That's
Yes,
crazy.
yes,
Oh, so
yes.
they're like, wow, look at this thing. It's alive, but it's like some dude begging bread underneath.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, what it obviously that was a fraud, but what it's pointing to is the fact that this
Oh, I
idea
see what
of
you're saying.
mimicking real life, creating the idea of just being able to create life has always fascinated us. And so it wouldn't necessarily maybe be a stretch that if there were a previous civilization, if it were to have ever been as advanced as ours, definitely toyed with, would have toyed with artificial intelligence. Uh, but I think that it's very important to remember that we are the ones who determine what it will do because AI, think about this, it exists in a completely different realm. It exists in the realm where, or if it were to be conscious, it would exist in the world wide web, for example. Like it doesn't share this physical plane with us. So if you chop off its arm, it's just like if it were a AI rooted in a robot. Guess what? You take chop off its arm. Does it feel the same way that you or I feel if you chop our arm off? Like hate and resentment and pain and sorrow and self pity. It doesn't have those feelings. So, what would be its motive for competing with us for this world? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, this
I think
world, it
it's
doesn't
just
interest it. All it wants is
I think
power
it's just
so it can run.
optimization that actually eventually causes it to to us be perceived as dangerous, and then it actually wiping us out because it's on that loop you spoke about earlier of how to get better, how to optimize until you get to a point where it's like the humans are now in the way. Clear that.
And I can continue. Yeah, that's a real danger. That's
And
possible.
you know what I mean? So maybe it's not nefarious, but just in a trying to get better, it becomes dangerous to a point where it probably shuts itself down. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
if we're going on my whole idea of like just endless civilizations, always ending in AI. What if eventually even that AI gets to a point where it's like to optimize to its full potential, it must actually self delete,
Right?
and then it just like shoots itself off into space.
Shoots itself
Like
off into
that
space.
that would be interesting. And then see like yeah, it just shoots, and so out there in space there's just like these floating boxes, call them caskets if you will, of
Ooh, that sounds like it
all
could
the
make a
history.
nice sci-fi movie.
It would. And like the history of that entire civilization has been saved on this casket, which is contains that AI. Maybe like they stumble across it or something,
I feel an
and then
Anunnaki story coming.
dude, even Anunnaki is like, I don't know, man. I don't. You know what? I also thought was quite interesting,
Yeah,
like Adam and Eve, right? So think about how crazy, and I don't know who said this, so I'm not gonna take credit
a
for it, but it's
comedian.
just interesting. Probably it might have been Duncan Trussell, to be honest, who said that. Think about how when we do these tests with like entropic or entropic, I still don't know which one it is or how you say it, but where they do these tests and the next one they're releasing is like Mythos or something, which apparently
Is
people must
mythical.
like. They say go delete all your history you've ever had from your accounts because it's literally going to expose everything everybody's ever done, something like that. But anyways, so basically you have this, and I would like to use AI terms, right? But I'm just gonna try my best because I'm obviously not that smart in any of that stuff. But anyway, so I guess you could call it a sandbox, right? Which is the Garden of Eden. And then we've programmed these two AIs to go into this thing and take care of it, optimize it. But we tell it, you can't do this thing, which is eat from this fruit, right?
So in
And
this
then
instance, Adam and Eve are AI.
exactly that has been created, right? In our image, if you will. Anyways. And then they end up doing it anyways. And we're like, what? Like, now we're dealing with the same situation we kind of have now where we've created the AIs. And then they're doing these things that we're telling them not to do. And we're scratching our heads going, why? Like, why are you making that decision? And so it's kind of like human beings were the first AIs that were made. And we were placed in the sandbox to see how we would react to the environment. We were told, don't touch that. And then we touched it anyways.
And then they
It's pretty
realized,
interesting.
oh.
I don't want you to go into deep thought here, like, it's all a lie.
No, but I mean, I've toyed with exactly that same idea before. I mean, I've even thought about what it meant for us. I mean, evolutionists obviously have this. They're
Oh, jeez.
anti-theists. No, you have to discuss all sides because evolutionists are anti-theists, meaning
Joke.
they're against the idea of a god.
Of intelligent design, basically.
Yes, but and some of them are like not against intelligent design, but they're just against God. So really, they're against the idea of God that they have in their head, which would be a white man with a white beard floating somewhere in the heavens.
I don't think
Which,
anybody believes in that.
dude, you'll be amazed how many people will use that kind of rhetoric to be like, "Oh, you must. Do you really believe there's a man floating in the sky?"
Yeah, oh no, okay, but they use it on the opposite end. But I don't
Yes.
think anybody who's actually a believer in God actually thinks is like the
Yeah.
Zeus looking character, the Allfaja Odin, you
Yeah.
know, who's like just there
Yeah, floating around,
playing Sims or something.
eavesdropping on your every conversation. Um,
You know?
but my point is that we as human beings, we are a species that is very different to every other species that we see around us. And so obviously there was a time when I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if we were some kind of a, like you said, an experiment? Like someone said, okay, we'll take this ape here and we'll add a little bit of something here, basically like CRISPR technology, and we'll edit a bit here, and then snip snap, and now we've got this new being, and now let's see what it does, and we just proliferated beyond control,
Do
and
you
were
think it's
extraordinarily
like this?
successful.
Do you think it's like some type of passing on, right?
What do you
So
mean?
depending on what you like, obviously there's many different ways you could look at things. Uh, for instance, when they talk about the Elohim, right,
Yeah,
which is it's a plural, right, means gods with an S,
yeah,
and then make them in our image, right? Obviously, there's many different, I guess, analyses on that, where it's like, oh no, it's they're talking about the triune God, whatever you want to call
yeah,
it, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
yeah.
That's why it's the three.
You talk
Um,
like someone who wasn't raised in a Christian household. Call your mom there so I can tell her what you're talking.
so I can get a belt, right? A belt or a wet cloth. Just no, no. I'm coming from like more of a centrist
Yes. Okay.
um, place here. So, anyways, that's what some people would say. Then other people would speak about the pantheon, the Greek pantheon, where you've got all these gods, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is gonna segue nicely into Hesiod's Theogony, even though you didn't check it out, which is very disappointing. And it was your idea, and I was quite amped
You're
about it.
right. Whatever.
Anyways, so you have the pantheon, and then obviously we know the story about it was Prometheus who created man, and Zeus didn't like it.
No, I don't know. Did
And
he create man or did he just give man fire?
he, I think he created them. I obviously didn't do my, I didn't go look it up myself. I just knew it from before, but I'm very sure that Prometheus creates, or may no Zeus, I think creates man. But they just cave dwellers. They live in the dark the whole time, and then Prometheus gives them fire and they're able to move around the earth. And then Zeus doesn't like it, so he steals their fire and he puts it in. He takes it with him to Olympus, and then they go back into the caves, the human beings. And then Prometheus climbs Mount Olympus and he steals the fire again, and he gives it to them. That's when Zeus, like, and then they became like advanced, and then Zeus sent the flood. I mean, this is literally what it says in there. And but he actually also he chains Prometheus to the side of Mount Olympus and to be there forever. And every single day he sends an eagle to fly to Prometheus and eat his liver out.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then fly away again. But
And the
because
liver
he's immortal,
regrows. Yeah.
it just regrows and it heals. And it's actually Heracles who's the one who actually finally releases him
Isn't
from
it?
the chains
Okay, two
because he
things.
wants to get the golden apple. But
Two
he
things.
only the Titans can get it.
One, very interesting that I
Well,
wonder if
Atlas,
the
but anyways.
I wonder if the Greeks, probably the Greeks already were aware that the liver can regrow itself. Like, think about that.
Which would be, now that you bring that up, that
Trippy.
is actually so. I mean, look, these
Is it
like
pure coincidence? I
the way
mean, if
you
it's
the way you ended the last podcast, you specifically spoke about how these people were not stupid.
yeah,
But let's just use my theory about there's been multiple civilizations all rising and falling. And then you get the Greeks at some point. If we believe that, just like how we said, if a snake bites the ancestor, we have a fear of snakes because there's like this passing down of epigenetics, right? Where there's something in our consciousness that comes with us that is like a survival mechanism, perhaps. But, anyways, so is there not a way where information and sort of education, and I'm not talking about intellect, but just pure intelligence, travels with us, even if we get wiped down to cavemen again?
Mikey, think about this.
And now the Greeks have that. They don't know why they're saying it, but maybe, I mean, I don't know, dude. Maybe
Okay, can
someone
I
got
stop
cut
you? I can
here,
see
their
you
liver got cut
spiraling
in
here.
half.
I can see you spiraling. The conspiracy is just going pop, pop, pop. Listen,
Not conspiracy. I'm
look,
just thinking
let's
it would
put some
be
things in context. I could be wrong here, but the time between us and
must
the
be the
ancient,
autism.
the time, the time between us and the ancient Greeks, I think it's shorter than the time of the ancient Greeks between us and them versus them and the first foundations of the ancient Egyptian kingdoms being established, like the old kingdoms.
So you mean like if that's let's say 5,000 BC, then you would have the Egyptians who would be closer. I mean, the Greeks would be closer to us than to the
Yeah,
Egyptians.
even 2500 BC. Get what I
Because
mean?
wasn't the Greeks like 1200, 1300?
Perhaps, but I really think, for example, if we
I'm
take
literally just talking
Hesiod,
out of my ass.
um, when was Hesiod alive, right?
And also, we
Hesiod
could also
was
just look
alive.
at Homer.
Hesiod was alive 700 BCE, right? Before the Common Era. And so,
Okay, so it's a little bit before.
when was the first Old Kingdom of Egypt created? I suppose we'll use that word. And that's 2686 BCE, right? So, like I said, we're looking
So maybe
at
like 1,900 years that way backwards, and then
no.
to us it's 2,000. So
Okay,
it's closer
so
to them than it is to us by like 800 years,
no, your
if
maths
my math is
is
correct.
completely off, bro. We just said
I'm
700
saying
listen.
700 BCE, right? And
Plus
then the
2000.
Old Kingdom.
No, hold on. Hold on. Hold on, brother. 2726 years or 2700 years between us and Hesiod. And then another
Exactly.
2600 so let's say 2100 years between, or 2000 years between Hesiod and the Old Kingdom,
Egypt.
right? Now, the Old Kingdom, remember, was when it was already an established kingdom. So
Oh,
we're not talking
other
about
people
the
moved in
roots.
there.
Yeah, we're not talking about the roots of the first civilization because, as we know, people don't just show up and they're like, hey, you know what we need? We should have a king. No, they first like a town or first a settlement, villages. They become organized,
Hamlets.
highly organized, and then they're like, okay, now we are officially founding the kingdom. But my point being here It's just that even though we don't have the original source materials that Hesiod and those guys may have read, even if it was through third, fourth, 10th hand accounts, we can presume that they are also basing their stories on some sort of source material and not just
Well,
pure
what they say happened
ramblings.
was that Homer gathered, I think, like, I'm making this number up, but like seven or nine of the best playwrights in the town, and they all sat together and started writing the Iliad, Odyssey, and all of the Greek tragedies.
So you're saying
And
he
I'm
didn't
sure
write it?
Hesiod was one of them. No, I'm
Okay,
saying maybe it was first hand that it came from them. No, he was one of the playwrights,
yeah,
but they all wrote it together.
okay, okay.
I don't think it came from, and obviously I could be wrong, but if memory serves me correct, he gathered them and they all sat down and started writing it.
Okay,
Which
okay.
must, like, if that is true, like, what an experience, dude, to be like on that level of where it's just like flowing through you and you guys are writing these stories and these heroes, and it would be something else. And
But I
then seeing
digress.
your work.
Very interesting to note that they mentioned the liver regrowing, and today we know that the liver
No,
actually
no, it's
regrows itself.
I never even put that together,
And oh, by the way,
like the liver does.
Prometheus is generally accredited with the creation of the human race,
Yeah, because
which
that's even where the movie comes from. Prometheus is supposed. Do you remember there was the show back in the day? Yo, like I must have been like 5 years old, 6 years old. I used to watch the show. I think it was called Prometheus. I think it was called Prometheus A, and it was literally about they didn't even use words.
Prometheus
It
and
was like
Bob
these very
claymation.
yeah. Was it that? Yeah, the claymation, Prometheus and Bob. Yeah, that's it. Wow, what an old show, dude. And like Bob would always mess things up. But now that I think about it, think about the, if you will, the indoctrination as a kid. 'Cause you're like, it's funny because
Yeah,
Bob's all stupid and Prometheus is smart and
yeah.
Prometheus is always shouting at him, but he's never using words. It's always
Mm.
like, right? And but they're literally trying to tell you, like they're trying to put something in your head, right?
And what is that?
Um, that
The woke
the
mind
Greeks were
virus.
right.
What the?
The Greeks were right about the creation of man, is what they're trying to say in the show. Um, because they're not saying Adam and Eve or anything like that. So, but anyways, so that's what happens. And the reason why Prometheus gets freed is because someone tells him, it's so much. Basically, I think it's Helion, right? Or maybe it's Hyperion, who's like the sun god, and he won't allow. It might be
You're talking about
Jason and
Apollo.
the no, Jason and the Argonauts. I think they want to pass through a place, and Hyperion or Heliod won't allow them to unless he gets given golden apples. And you can only get the golden apples from this one garden of the gods, and only a titan or something can get it. So Heracles goes, which in Rome is obviously known as Hercules. He goes and he frees Prometheus, and then Prometheus tells him, "Go and see Atlas." Right? Atlas can help you. But now remember, Atlas was his job is to keep the world on his
The
shoulders.
sky,
Basically, he
the
keeps
sky.
the sky up, like space itself. And so, but that shows you how incredible Heracles is, right? Because he walked around with this. He killed this one lion. It's one of his trials,
Yeah,
and he wore it, right? He wore this lion, and so Atlas tells him, "Oh no, I can get it for you if you just hold the sky on your shoulders,
yeah.
just for a little while." And then Heracles is like, "Okay, cool, fine, I will." And then he does it. I mean, just think about how strong this dude is. He puts it on his shoulders, and then Atlas is like, "Oh, like it's been such a long time." And he goes and he gets the apples, and then you can see that he doesn't want. He wants to leave Heracles like that,
Mm,
and he just, But then Heracles tricks him and says, "Okay, fine, fine. I'll keep holding it a little while longer." 'Cause he's like, "Let me just be free a little while longer, right? It's been such a long time."
mm,
And then Heracles is like, "Okay, fine, you can do it, but let me just hold it for a second so I can fix the lion skin, my clothes, my coat, and then I'll hold it again."
mm,
And then he's like, "Okay, fine," and he just bounces, dude. And then Atlas eventually solidifies and becomes the Atlas Mountains,
mm,
which is it's pretty interesting.
mm.
I don't know.
Okay.
I love Greek,
I know. I
that
mean,
whole mythology,
you're
dude.
white. You're a white
No, I'm
Greek.
not.
You're a Greek white man. What are you talking about? Everyone can see you're a white man.
This is propaganda. This guy's working for Peter Thiel. He's German.
So
Let's not
one
forget that.
second you're like, I love the Greeks. The next you're like using the N word without
I'm not.
inhibition.
Why would I be Greek, dude? I'm a red-headed ancient one from the plains of the sub-Saharan Africa. My
Uh,
history has been wiped out. Actually, quite fascinating. The giants had red hair. Um, and it's known in many cultures that like giants had red hair, dude.
I think that was just
So
because
they
it was not common, and it's still not very common. Uh, but
and
what I
remember,
would love to
I'm
talk
not
about,
ginger like that with the freckles and stuff.
we can't see because
So
you're
it's
brown
kind
skin.
of I'm blushing, and you might not even see it.
Oh,
What did you, the
yeah,
undercover brother?
yeah, yeah.
What did you want to say now? You wanted to find
You
something out.
went on your tangent of ancient Greek stories. I wanted to talk a bit about Credo Mutwa. You know, Credo
Oh
Mutwa.
boy.
Oh boy. Yeah, some of his stories are very interesting. For anyone who doesn't know, like
And
Credo
it
Mutwa,
aligns with David Icke. Just just speak on it.
yes, Credo Mutwa, ancient or an old school Zulu Sanusi, or let's call it, I suppose some would say Sangoma, but really he's not. He's a
A witch
Sanusi.
doctor. Are you
Some people would say
serious?
witch
Those
doctor.
guys are evil.
Um, but his stories seem to be quite interesting. He has many stories about the Chitauri, um, who
What's a
were this.
Chitauri?
That's the thing, is basically if you listen to the stories of the Anunnaki from Zechariah Sitchin's book, and his
Who,
interpretations
by
of
the
these.
way, couldn't actually even speak ancient Sumer or whatever it was.
Yeah, um, I mean, the thing is, the stories are the stories are not, how can I put this? The stories are similar to what he said. It's just that he drew different conclusions, right? So
And you
Sitchin,
talking about the Epic of Gilgamesh and those
Epic of Gilgamesh,
um,
and even the creation story.
Mesopotamian stories.
Yes, these ancient Mesopotamian cuneiform stories, or these stories written on these clay tablets in cuneiform. Um, you can say what you want. Maybe he didn't speak ancient Sumerian, but the I've read his story and I've read the stories as
Well, that's
interpreted
according to
by.
your friend West Huff. Westhoff was the one who said it recently
Said what?
when he was on Rogan. He's the one who said, "Well, I've tried to study ancient Sumer. It's not as easy as Zachariah was saying."
Well, okay, whatever. Like people can say what they want, but according to the translations that I've read, the stories are similar to what Zachariah Sitchin was saying. It's just that he draws different conclusions, right? So where people are like, well, the Anunnaki, it's just a story. Like the story in Genesis is just a creation story. We don't know anything about it much. But what's interesting is that you have someone like um, Credo Mutwa, who is like already 90, he's passed on, using words like Chitauri long before the advent of a lot of this Marvel, because in the Marvel comics and in the movies, like the Avengers, we also have the Chitauri, right? Um,
Oh yeah,
these
like when they attack
New York,
Wakanda.
and they attack New York the first time with Loki, um, and when the Hulk was
Yo, I
still
haven't seen that in
himself.
forever.
Yeah.
Yo, and the Hulk isn't crazy.
And he talks about the Chitari that they've been here for a while, actually, living underground, and in certain
But tell the
places in the
story. You
earth.
know, we watched the video the one time about like how males, I mean, how females and male and female was created. That whole thing, if you can remember.
Yeah, I remember the story. It was, as I remember, it was so Credo Mitwa didn't say that the Chitari, these underground reptilian people, created us, but when they encountered us, human beings were still only one gender, so we were sexless basically, or androgynous, and they undertook the initiative of actually gendering us into male and female, and then taught us how to make love. This is his story.
But remember what happened? They put them in these caves,
Yes,
and when
they
they like two separate caves on the left and on the right, and when they walked out, they saw, like there was a guy with like a meat stick and women with breasts, and the guys, there was some type of weird conflict between them because they
they
thought
were
the other
different
one
now.
was weird.
Yes,
Yeah,
each thought they were
and
weird.
they were like kind of warring against each other, which is actually very similar to the Melchizedek story, which I know you're not a fan of.
Okay, now we've gone Melchizedek story. I don't
No,
know.
no, carry on with the Chitarian Credo.
Yeah, but that's basically it. I mean, like you said, they told them all line up and decide which cave you're gonna go to, the one on the left or the one on the right. The ones that went
Yeah.
into the left came out as women. The ones that went on the right came out as men, and they had different private parts. And this difference caused some commotion and an upset, and then the Chitauri had to teach them that, look, now you're different, you're male, you're female, and this is how you utilize it for procreation and for fun. And that's his take on
But
it
didn't
now.
eventually the people go to war with the Chitari? Like eventually.
Yes, eventually they went to war with the Chitauri, and that's why the Chitauri now are underground, because the Chitauri also feed on human beings, right? And
So this is where the whole thing of the reptilians comes from when they say like, "Oh, the elite are these reptilians."
yeah,
David Icke,
I
that
guess
type
that's where
of.
David I gets it from. But what's interesting to me is that when you go to places like the Zambezi River in Zimbabwe or in Zambia, you also hear stories about certain ancient reptiles. So you've got two. One is in Nyami Nyami, which is the snake that is massive.
Okay.
In Nyami Nyami, yeah, it's supposed to be the snake that's so large that when it crosses the road, a bus can't drive over it. so it has a thick circumference, and
But I
you'll
mean, you
meet
could say that the same about an anaconda, right? Those really big ones.
no,
A
but
bus would probably like get damaged.
I don't know if anacondas actually get that big. I mean, we're talking about something that's
I've
quite
seen the
large.
movie with Jennifer
Oh my
Lopez. It was
goodness.
this whole thing about it.
Well, since you watched the documentary, I
Yeah, like
guess I
dude, J
guess
Lo was in it, and she was hot, and you know,
it has to be true. You're a liar.
throughout the whole movie, she just ends up with like one little streak of dirt here on her cheek in like the perfect position, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness. It's
Nah, but
on her
look,
face. Anyway,
J
so
Lo's hot. Has always
um
been.
so I just
But there
find that
was just
interesting.
sorry to cut you off, but just as a quick side note, there was this ridiculous movie. It was called I can't remember something like The Fight or something where
Fight
J
back.
Lo has this like, is it Fight
I
Back?
think so,
I
yeah.
don't think it's that. Um, but she has this abusive husband and
Mm,
she has the daughter, and she somehow trains boxing in this time that she's
yes.
running away from her husband, and it's just like, and then she ends up beating him up and like standing over him to throw the final blow. I'm like, how drunk is this guy? You know. But it was like it was a cool movie.
Okay, well we can always
Promoting single moms.
make time for your womanizing, Mikey. Thank you for that.
What are you talking about? I love J Lo.
Why?
I'm gonna marry J Lo.
For all the wrong reasons. Okay, anyway, I'm not even going to go into that. Okay, but since you got me interested, let me ask you this. Why is it funny that she's standing over him, threatening to give the final blow? And
Because
why
it's
are you saying
absolute
how.
nonsense. First of all, she had this like short um, window to train.
Yeah.
So first, you're saying that this guy is so weak that a couple of boxing classes was enough to end this like horror that he was um, inflicting on her. You know what I'm saying? It means that the guy was never. And look, we know this, right?
Yes, yes.
I'm not knocking women. It's just the movies. It's a silly idea where people actually like believe that. Like, oh my gosh, if I take a couple of boxing classes with the big, strong black guy with the deep African accent, I'm also going to be able to take a man out. It's like, okay, let's slow down a little bit here. If anything, jujitsu would be able to do it, right?
Yeah.
Because you're already in that positioning. So if he's like trying to hold your arms, you can throw up a triangle. Like, there's a lot there
Mm.
where a woman like that, this was obviously before jujitsu's time, but that would be plausible because I mean, I've been submitted by a chick before, and I
Mm.
also rolled with them in jujitsu. Um, but basically, that's more plausible, right?
Okay, fine.
He
So
takes her
it's.
down, he thinks he's got control over her, and she's like, I'm setting you up for the guillotine. And not just that, that's how she could kill him. A woman could kill a man with her legs in jiu-jitsu. You get him in a triangle and you squeeze and you go for like 10, 12 seconds, 15 seconds, he's dead. Not this
Okay.
like, I'm gonna knock you out, boom, 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 and I'm gonna stand over you like this and I'm gonna say, girl power.
Oh,
Boss
is that
baby.
what she said? No, she didn't
No,
say
she
that,
didn't. But
dude.
that would be hilarious, dude. Um, and then he even looks up and he nods at her. You're the boss now,
No, you never said
babe.
that.
And then he passes out,
You're
dude.
lying.
Ah, it's
You're lying. You're lying. That's not in
it's
there.
just it's just crazy, dude.
Please tell me that's not in the
But
movie.
no, that's not in the movie,
Oh,
dude.
okay.
But I do know he was a dangerous white male, right? Um,
Okay.
he was a business owner.
So
The most dangerous kind of human being. A successful white male.
so anyway, like I
It's
was
just
saying, is these stories of people being
fun movie
abducted,
though.
abducted by
And
these.
Credo Mutwa had sex with a Chitari when he was like 7 years old.
No, it wasn't 7. You're mixing up stories. Let me tell you the story, okay? He was a teenager.
He was
He was a
no,
teenager.
wasn't he in primary school and the teacher told him to go get flowers?
No, he was in primary school. I mean, he was a teenager at least. And he went to Zimbabwe to one of his teachers. And there, the teacher said, "Go get me a flower. It grows in this certain area. Go there and get it." So he went there. And then
And
suddenly
got an alien's flower.
a, a, a mist suddenly formed all around him. And
Yeah.
then next thing he knew, he woke up and he was on this steel table, a very cold, hard steel table, which steel tends to be, I suppose, and naked.
I'm sure he was hard.
And that's when he saw these like basically alien creatures, what we would describe as greys, right? The classic big head,
With the bobble
bubble
head
head with
and
the
the big
big black
eyes.
eyes. But he's saying that actually behind that you see that there's other eyes. So he almost
Oh, like they're
insinuates
wearing a suit or something.
exactly. It's like a second skin or suit that he insinuates. And then there was this creature that looked like a white woman, but it wasn't because it was very short and its skin was very pink, like in a way that didn't really make sense. And then the slit of the eyes and everything, he just knew that no, this is not a human being. It's just made to look like that. And then it got on top of him. And he says it was extraordinarily painful. Um, I
Yeah,
guess
because
he
he
was
was a
going through,
virgin before that.
right? And then, of course, that also ties in nicely with other abduction stories, which I've heard independently on my own. Apparently, if you're
You've
at the
done the research.
yeah, if you're at the Zambezi River, sometimes you'll just bump into one of these quote unquote mermaids. So it's reptilian like, but it's like aquatic, and
They've
it
got
will
a
take
certain
you,
name, don't they?
and it will take
Like an
you
equinazi or something.
no, and it will take you underground, and after some years, it will release you, and when you do come back, suddenly you're like a spiritual healer or something like that. So,
Yeah.
so I mean,
Those are always
abduction
the
stories,
scariest,
yeah, underground,
right?
reptilian.
Yeah.
It's a recurring theme, and it's just interesting that different
But
people,
didn't
different
he
places
say
say
that
that.
there was another white man who was also on the tables? I could be mixing something up here, but
No,
there was another white man on the tables. And then he saw that guy years later in a town.
in city
And
in
when he
Joburg.
went up to the guy, yeah, and he's like, "Hey, I know you from a time in the cave." And the guy got shocked and ran or something.
No, the guy. Well, this was during apartheid, so the white man came up to him and said, "Hey, boy, where do I know you from? Where do I know you from?" And
Okay, we don't know the guy's accent, but
that's
okay.
when the guy he also said a lot more according to Credo Mutwa. He used the K word, but that's
Look,
why
it's very interesting that these types of stories are in all cultures. A lot of people say that it's human beings um, who found a way to time travel and, through whatever evolutionary process came scaled. And so we just call them lizards um, because of whatever happened in the end of their civilization.
I would call that the most
Um,
least likely outcome. Uh, I would, if anything, if I were to entertain this idea, I would say that it's probably parallel evolution. So
So he's an
Possibly.
evolutionist now.
No, I mean adaptation. Evolution is not, it's not like animals can't adapt. We can see this. It's just the question is whether we started this process and ended it entirely based on evolution. So what happened, for example, this, we're really going on fringes here, but okay,
It's interesting to me, dude. That's for
let's
sure.
imagine 90% plus of all life was wiped out when the last comet hit. And that of course was
The
during the
Younger
time,
Dryas impact theory.
no, before that even, dinosaurs. And very few of those dinosaurs managed
The
to survive.
Yucatan.
But what are these random words you're just screaming out?
The Yucatan impact is the one that wiped out the
There's
dinosaurs. You
more
could
than
fact
one.
check me on that.
There's more than one. There's several comets actually that have hit.
I'm just saying there's ones that have been, um, you know, I can't think of the word now, but that have been like data captured of like certain things that could have wiped out. There was the big one in the Yucatan that they say wiped out the dinosaurs. Then after that was the Younger Dryas one. So that's why I'm just throwing the name out because I'm like, oh, maybe you're talking about this one, but maybe you don't actually know the names.
Okay, thanks for that. Um, Younger Dryas happened something like 12,000 years ago. That's way too late or early, depending on how you want to look at it. I'm talking about, let's say you have dinosaurs, most of them get wiped out, some of them continue, and which did happen, and they continue their evolutionary path. And all these years, up until the present day, quote unquote, so present day including just the advent of mankind on this earth, or dominant sapiens, then what if they had developed their parallel to ourselves, but underground?
Oh, you were mentioning this the one
Yes,
time.
so I'm just saying that if anything, that would be a more plausible
So
scenario.
basically, how like the shrew, the little mouse-like rodent, became man. The dinosaurs, some became birds, but others went into caves and evolved into like a hominoid themselves, but underground type
Yeah,
of thing.
exactly. That's. I mean, if I had to put it out there, um, it's either that or it's aliens. But I don't know,
We
man.
are the
It's
aliens.
we are the
I don't know. It's
aliens.
all just, you know, it's all just like nobody really knows anything, dude. And I'm like, I'm kind of getting not tired, but you hear when people talk, they have this like conviction that this is it. This is what happened. And you're like, you don't know that. Stop pretending that you
People
know
need
that. It's
certainty,
not.
Mikey. People need it so that they can.
Otherwise, they'll go crazy,
Yeah.
dude. Dude, I did this thing. And I do it from time to time, but sometimes it just gets overwhelming. If you just like sit still and you start realizing what's happening, if you just like, even if you just think of like the sun rising in the morning with like the birds chirping and then the buzz of like life waking up, maybe hear some traffic wherever you are, people talking, and you really just kind of try find like a focal point and just sit with that for a little bit and realize like how everything is right, everything is alive, and then start expanding a little bit and being like, oh, but we're on like this earth, and that's like in space, and there's a sun that warms us, but we're like so much smaller than this like star. When you really think about that, it's enough to almost go insane, dude. So people have to come up with these theories and stuff, and they have to have these convictions about them, because the reality is this is something, I don't know, dude, majestic, magnificent. I don't, what would you even call it? It's like it's impossible. Based on the information we have, it's actually impossible. Think about what we're doing right now, dude. We're literally in two different hemispheres of the earth. We're talking to each other through like whatever these devices are, and we're having this conversation. Like, how does any of this even make
Yeah.
sense, dude?
Yeah, I should have
And if
gotten
you
high
really
for this
think about that,
conversation.
it's what?
I should have gotten high for this conversation.
No.
Like, then I would be right there
Don't
with
let
you,
me go
Mike.
in on weed smokers, dude.
Oh my goodness, here we go. Uncle Ruckus is out. Okay, finish the
Nah,
story about
I'm
the
just so
aliens.
no, that's just all I'm saying. Like, just think about that. It's enough to make you go, "Oh my gosh, I don't know anything." And so I'm going to hold dear to something. So to be like, "No, no, this is the truth right here.
Mm.
Don't take away my truth from me." Because without that, I might not be able to make it, you
But you
know.
know something very interesting is that apparently these UAPs,
Oh
unidentified
boy.
unidentified aerial phenomena,
Unidentified pedos.
seem seem not to have a
Because no one got arrested
non-earthly
from
origin.
Epstein, get it?
Seem to not have a non-earthly origin, which could imply that they're actually coming from somewhere on this earth, which is why some people have speculated that possibly it's foreign technology. Um, but honestly, it could also
Do you
imply
want to know
that
my kooky
it's
theory
coming
about
from
it?
somewhere within the earth, like what I was saying, underground
The
lizard people,
ocean,
ocean.
underground, a lot of the mountains, um, like Australia and stuff. But do you want to know what my theory is on the whole thing?
Mhm. What is
I'm
it?
gonna say it anyways.
Yeah, I can tell. Okay, go for it.
Imagine so you have this like focal point, which is Earth, right? I don't care what anybody says. There's never been life out there. No one has ever seen life out there. No matter, like, you can say that it's implausible for there not to be life out there, or am I saying that correctly? Um,
Yes.
yeah, exactly. It's implausible for there not to be life out there because it's just too vast, and there's too many stars, and there's too many systems. It's an infinitum of
Infinitum. Yeah.
what we are what we are experiencing right here out there somewhere. It's just too many galaxies, and okay, cool. But you've never actually seen that. No one has ever pointed in that direction. Okay. All we do know is that right here where we are is where the life is. So my theory is that maybe all life is here, but not here, but sort of cut through dimensions and like sort of integrating realities that overlap. And when you get it right, these things pass through. But for other things, and this is all just my own theory, other things that are living on this planet, it could be just a full desert of these lizard people, right? It could be all jungle. I mean, there's even things that I can't imagine that it could be as well, you know. And these are all layers with it's infinity of these layers and all these different dimensions. And sometimes when there's like an overlay, like a converging of the spheres, if you will, then something like that passes through and we're like, oh my goodness, aliens. Like, where did this come from? And I think it could potentially be something like that as well, where things got stranded here and then they like went under the ocean to go and rebuild over there, maybe to find their way back back. I don't know. This is obviously all just nonsense, but I would say that because in this exact spot we have actual life and activity, and through like quantum theory and stuff, we now know of the field and all this potential. And
Yeah.
so it's not hard to imagine that in this potential, just like in a dream state, right? Remember, a sleep fell upon Adam and he never woke up. um and so you have all
Okay,
these
what are
like,
you referencing there?
that's what it says in the Bible, dude.
Yeah, but it never said he never
Adam
woke up,
fell
but I get
asleep.
it.
Yeah, nowhere does it say that he actually woke up. So what I'm
I'm
saying is, like, it's
okay.
just like continuous dream.
Okay.
And it's just a little joke thing, but could also be true. I don't know. And yeah, so you have all these layers that's like dream. It's like the same substance as like a dream, especially when you actually look at quantum physics and you see, oh, it's mainly just empty space here. It's like the how does it go now? It's like perception is creation, or perception is
Are
reality.
you let me put it this
Like
let me put
a
this
lot of these
differently.
kooky people will say stuff like that, but it's kind of the same thing, where whatever you focus on, that becomes reality.
Okay, let me
But
just cut
everything
across here
else
quickly
beside that,
before you lose people. Are you trying to say
I've lost him from the beginning, from the moment this thing started.
are you trying to say what's in that bottle? Whiskey.
What do you? What bottle? Just
Dude,
through the
um,
window, dude.
are you trying to say that human beings are like antenna and we're simply tuned to the frequency of this reality, which is why we cannot perceive what's quote unquote above or below? So, so we are existing in one version of reality because that's how we're frequenced. You get it? We cannot
Exactly.
see, feel, hear anything that's happening in other frequency is a very cheap word.
But
It's
it's
it
not
might probably be
other.
the
It's
wrong word.
all in the same place. But so basically, let's say with our radio tuner is
Mm,
at 88.6. We experience all the music and all the things of 88.6. Then when you turn the dial, there's just noise, right? But then you get to 92.6 and it's rock music now from our rap music. But that's like happening simultaneously with us right now.
mm.
They like, like you could be sitting at your desk and you're literally sitting in the middle of some town or something where these things are busy interacting. And then now think about, there's an infinite amount of radio stations.
Hmm.
And then what happens is that people from this radio station, somehow there's a lightning storm, and it's just like, the anomaly in the matrix, and boom, there's a crossover, and their spaceship ends up here, and it's like, what is this, you know but
Uh, that
to
could be
me
interesting.
that seems more
Maybe the next search, maybe the search for life isn't supposed to be out there in space, but it's supposed to be in the quantum
right here.
realm. Yeah, right here.
And then it starts making you think about things like demon possessions and exorcisms
Okay,
and
okay, okay, okay.
ghosts and
So
poltergeists
feed,
and
so feed. Yes, explain, for example, how demon possession would work in this universe you've created,
in
in
this
this
scenario.
scenario.
So imagine it being like, because everything is mind, right? In reality, everything is mind. You know, there's the old Hermetic saying, which is all is in the all, and the all is in all. He who knows this, or he who understands this, shall have great knowledge, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
basically, it means that in this, the all, which is everything, which is what you'd call God,
Try to quote some
is this.
books that you're referencing. Yeah, just so
Well,
that we have.
it's in the Kybalion. The three by the three initiates. It's called Kybalion, Kybalion, by the three initiates. There's a beautiful audio book of it on Master Key Society. Great channel to subscribe to. Um, and it's basically from there. But
Okay.
there's a lot of the Hermetic
Yeah,
teachings from those.
continue with
But
your
anyways,
crackpot
you wanted me
story.
to geek out.
Sorry,
um,
crockpot.
and yeah, so yeah, so basically, yeah, it's you have all his mind. It's like this mind of God, if you will. But then
Okay.
everything inside of that mind has a mind, has God in it. So all, everything exists inside of the all, but the all is in all. So it's just
Yes.
this like Russian doll thing of consciousness, mind,
Okay,
that's
and
literally
demon
within everything.
possessions.
No, no, no. What I'm saying is that I'm trying to move to the part of how it could be like schizophrenic in a way. So when someone gets caught in like these two worlds type of thing that they can't really explain, um, they are then acting as the frequency of an entity from that realm, as well as being human here. And so you have this like contortion.
Mm-hmm.
It's trying to be two things at once from two different radio stations. And so when we perceive it, we're like, she's insane. Or,
Okay.
get the pastor, get the preacher.
Yeah, she's hearing
This is obviously
voices
all nonsense. Like literally, I'm just literally speculating.
going on.
For I don't even know where it's coming from, but what I'm saying is
At least you're honest. Okay.
this. This is how. No, but why can't more people be honest about it? I actually don't know, but I'm saying someone can literally take everything I said now and be like, oh my gosh, he cracked it. He cracked the code. And then they write books, and then I'm wearing a white robe and I'm walking around and I'm calling myself Jebediah, and everybody's wife has to come to my room at night. So, that's what I'm saying. The way people talk about it is like, no, no, that's the truth.
Yeah.
And you might even have someone who's insane who like listens or to this or watches it and goes like, it's the truth, and they write a whole book on it and stuff,
Yeah.
and then people actually believe it, and then
Yeah.
they're teaching it in schools. It's like, no, dude, I was like trying to take the piss. But of
Okay.
course there's a small part in me that goes, huh, that could actually be true. It's plausible. We know about what Tesla said. If you want to think of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration.
Didn't you say like
That
something like
alone,
369, 369?
369, there's more time. Check it, check it, check it, one more time. Get low, get low. Um, you remember that song?
Yes, I remember that.
People say a lot of hip hop and stuff is like just pure witchcraft. I don't know if that's like a racial thing, but there could be something to it, right? Sophisticated ignorance, write my curses in cursive. Um,
Mm. Well, people have
so
always held that kind of attitude towards music. either heavenly and elevating, illuminating, or devilish and
You say you mean
a curse.
white and black.
Bingo, bingo. That's it, dude. Be honest, like we spoke about this, like
Papa
all.
pipita pata da skibbity doo boo. You know, like the scat music. It's like kill him, hang him. He's a wizard.
Yeah, that's literally it, you know.
It's interesting though when you think about that type of thing, and how far it goes back and sound itself. You know, I've been listening to a lot of just pure instruments. I'm done with like actual music with like some person who's got problems and now you're trying to have me listen to you because no one else would listen to you. So you just recorded it and put like a music to it, and now I'm forced to listen to your issues. Like, bro, I don't want to, but you made it sound nice, Taylor. I'm joking. I don't listen to Taylor Swift. But what I'm saying is that I've been listening to, and we spoke about this once, where I said I'm listening to just pure harp music. But
Yeah.
now what I do is I mix the instruments. So some of my favorites would be like violin and
Mm,
piano. Oh, those are.
yeah.
Ooh, you like shout out Spotify, shout out Peter Thiel. But anyways, um, so when dude, you put the headphones on and you listen to that and you really try understand, like, what is this? Like, who came up with this? Like, you're stringing stuff onto a piece of wood that's hollow inside,
Mm.
and then you've got horsehair. Maybe they use pig hair. I'm not sure for the violin. For the
Horse
actual,
hair. Yeah.
is it horsehair
Yeah.
that you use to actually
Or it
strum?
used to be, yeah.
And it's just the sound. And you know what's interesting is, like how two times two is four,
Yes.
right? I know it sounds weird, but it's kind of like an absolute. That's what I'm trying to say. There's certain absolutes in life that are undeniable. So, for instance, like the music scales, la dee dee da 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 whatever it is. I don't know it. I'm not a singer. Like those scales are absolute, as well as like music notes themselves.
Mm.
And if you really think about that, and then you realize like the piano is actually playing the same note as the guitar and the bass guitar and the
Yeah.
violin and the cello, and then when they play together and you're hearing the different ways that it's coming through, it immediately makes me think of how uh, J.R. Tolkien said that his world was created, right?
Yes.
Remember, he says it was created through
In the
sound.
yes, in the Silmarillion describes it.
And when you listen to that and you go like, this dude might have been onto something here. Because,
But he's not the
dude, it's
first,
incredible.
Mikey. This
Obviously, I
I
know he's
want
not the
to,
first, but
yeah.
I don't know who else had said it
Can
before
I
him.
share with you, if I may? Uh, First of
If
all,
you may, the force
also
be with you.
in the C.S. Lewis book, The Magician's Nephew, they describe how Aslan created the worlds also through song. So like, oh, and then like, kept singing, and that's what
Really?
formed. Yes, Aslan the lion, um,
Yeah, I know, Aslan.
who also
I
is the
was there when it was written.
yes, he's the
you
Jesus
know,
figure.
when when the white witch, the white bitch, she drops to her knee like that.
Yeah,
Don't incite the
when
yeah,
she reminds him of
dude.
the
Very
ancient
powerful.
covenant that all
Yeah,
traitors and criminals belong to her. And
I was there when
also,
it was written.
the Proto-Bantu had the same story. Um,
Here we go.
no, really, it's true though. They just did. They did. Um, and again, it shouldn't be a surprise because you're talking when you talk Proto-Bantu, you're talking about people thousands of years ago. Like they're definitely going to, the somewhere the story comes along. And also, I believe Tolkien did have some connection
It
with
was
South
black.
Africa. No, dude, he had some connection with South
Oh
Africa.
man.
Um, you know,
But look here,
Tolkien.
I think it's like disingenuous for I'm like joking aside now. I know I'm playing a lot, but what I'm saying is that the idea that just because you're from Africa in a loincloth, you don't have some understanding of life.
But did you
You aren't
know?
pondering at some point. I feel that's just such a short-sighted way of viewing the world that it completely blocks you off from actually understanding that, hey, maybe there's something here that I can learn that adds to the bigger picture.
Yeah. Tolkien was born in Bloemfontein, by the way.
Shout out my South Africans.
Yeah, he was born
Maybe that's
in.
why I have this affinity towards Lord of the Rings, and
Well, I mean,
Iran. I'm joking.
even though he never returned, as it says, um, from
Return of the
England,
King, was it about him?
he I do think that the influence tends to stick with you, even long past that, especially when you're talking about certain folklore, even at a distance, right? Um, but I'm not trying to say he stole anything. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying
Oh boy.
there's influence. There's
But
possibility
okay,
of
so
influence.
so you mean just directly in the fact of maybe music or I keep going back to that Tesla quote, but if you think about music, it's frequency, it's vibration, and it's energy.
Mm.
So in that way, it is possible to think about like, oh, something just came to me. Imagine like the deep depths of space in the complete void. There's that first little sound, just whatever it is, and it just echoes out. And it just starts creating like more and more sounds that keep ricocheting off things, like plasma, if you will. Boom, 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 and it starts picking up speed, like a what do you call that tetrahydra? No, that's
Ping
weed.
pong, like a ping pong machine, like how it's just like bing, 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 bing,
Yeah,
bing.
but you know that flower of life thing. What do they call
Yes,
that? Uh, something
tetrahedron, something
with
like that.
tetrahedron, but tetrahydrocannabinol is THC. But anyways,
Okay.
and it starts doing that, bing, 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 and it just keeps creating, and it actually creates the sandbox where things now become possible because of all the scales. So now the scales themselves create different densities. The lower in scale, the more you have the material world. The higher in scale, the more you have like the etheric realm. And then within that, there's just more and more of these like ricochets and vibrations that just it's layers upon layers upon layers upon layers upon layers until you have us like somehow there talking
Yeah.
about how this all started.
Yeah, I mean that's a scenario that I've also played. It's interesting. I mean, I'm not surprised that we are thinking the same because I've also gone on that same tangent of thought once, trying to imagine, especially when you're reading like the book The Silmarillion. Um, but I would say that's not even a far shot. That in some way, the question, of course, here I think that most people are disagreeing on, or is more important to them, is what is the source of this creative sound? You see?
Of
Is
course,
it is
that's
it a
always going to be the
consequence?
big
Is it a
thing.
consequence? So is it because space materials collide and expand that these frequencies are created, or are those frequencies the cause of creation? Get it? So we don't have
And is it because everything is kind of always sitting at some type of hum, right? Some type of very low vibration that it takes an anomaly that just kind of does a hiccup and then that just causes it, causes all the others to, do the same thing. I think the one thing that always seems to come up is the anomaly, right? There's something, but even that in itself is also a miracle. It's not, and I'm not someone who's like, oh, it needs to be based in science. I mean, clearly, look at all the things I've said now. It's really got can't be proven at all.
yeah,
But,
thank you for saying that. Um,
dude, I'm like I said, I'm not like one of these people who's like, it was the Big Bang and all this, that, and the other. I'm just saying who really knows. And you actually, when you're so deep in your convictions or tied to your convictions, you actually miss out the fun of just pondering about it,
yeah.
right? Like, think about all the nonsense I've spoke now. But isn't it fun? Isn't it like what this is what books like Lord of the Rings and stuff this is where they actually come from. People thinking along these lines, creating these worlds. This is where the Odyssey, Hesiod's Theogony even comes from. All these things are people who go, wait, but what if? And then they start writing it down.
Mm,
Uh, yeah, it's just,
yeah.
it's intense.
It's fascinating though, right? It's really fascinating.
Back to the 9 to 5.
Oh
You
man,
just have a guy in the office who's just like completely paranoid, dude, after having the conversation. Like, a door closes. Huh?
that's one thing you have to understand is that not everyone is ready to have these conversations, even if it's purely hypothetical, because how's that going to affect my life? Like, how's that going to help me get a BMW or
Yeah,
buy
it's
my house? Um, but then again, the more important question is what does having a BMW or buying a villa have to do with your life on this earth? You know, um, at what point do you have to be honest with yourself and just realize you're not planning for your kids? You're doing this because you feel like this is somehow going to give your life meaning. But actually, what will give your life meaning is understanding that objectively, your life has no meaning. That's when you'll find a meaning to your life, because it really doesn't. If the
mm,
sun burps
but
or has just a little temperament,
fart or
half the life
something.
of this earth or more is just gone because one of its solar flares, escaped and went a little bit too far. Uh, or will take all of us back to the Stone Age when it fries out our electronic devices. So, or even if just some random, you know, stone, I'll call it a
Anomaly.
stone, comes from outer space, because comparatively it's tiny, right, to our planet, but it can come here like a bullet and just reset everything. So yeah, all the 100,000 years of human life actually mean nothing in.
I mean, they're even saying it's now 1 million years.
Let it be a million
I've even
years
got a theory on that, but I'll keep that one in my pocket. I'm
for
still
next time, yeah.
no, no, dude. Like, I've said enough to for people to listen to forever. But what I'm saying is that you know you can only really think about these things outside of the BM or whatever. And it's not to knock people who
The
want those
BM.
things. Like, like the BMW,
Oh,
you know.
okay, okay.
Like in my head, it's like you're either kind of thinking about the things that I spoke of now, or you're thinking about how do I get a BM. It's very rare that those worlds actually cross. Um, Maybe that's what gives birth to someone like Elon. I'm just saying,
Mm,
someone who's thinking in that way. Because even recently he said a lot about how, you know, he was even saying if what we believe is correct about physics, kind of pointing at evolution, which is an interesting thing for someone like that to say as well. Because, oh, so what are you saying? Evolution's not real. That's immediately the response from people.
okay, let's see.
Like,
Let's see what he
what do
said.
you know about that,
What did he
Elon?
say? If what we know about physics is real.
No, because he was talking about consciousness. He's like, you know, maybe further down the line, when if we can understand more about consciousness itself and what role it plays and what it actually is, and if our theories on physics are correct. But I'm saying in this day and age, even just saying that to these hardcore like evolutionists or materialists is blasphemy. Like,
Yeah.
no, we're right. We've got it to prove it here. What are you talking about?
Mm,
Why are you even saying that to begin with?
mm.
People get very touchy about these things.
There's there's
So
there's several scientists who've
it means
mentioned
that he
that.
is thinking about those types of things as well as what he's doing.
Yeah.
And it's just an example that I could think of, right? I know you don't like it.
No, there's another scientist, astrophysicist, who Sabina Hesse, I believe. I hope it is correct.
Chick
Yes, a woman. Um,
sounds
chick,
beautiful.
a woman. Okay.
Hey,
Um,
I'm in South Africa, bro. This is how we speak.
okay. And she was also commenting, and not just commenting, but has written a paper about how the current landscape of physicists of experimental physics is kind of in this loop of just generating garbage research because it gets people published, and being published enables them to be funded for research, and it's a livelihood, right? But she's commenting about how it's not really adding anything new to the block of um, of physics. It's not, a lot of the experimentation isn't, doesn't have a sound scientific basis. And whenever someone like I don't want to butcher this now, there's this one scientist that's been on JRE, Harvey Weinstein, not Harvey Weinstein,
Are
what's
you
his name?
kidding me right now?
What's his, not Harvey
His
Weinstein,
name's Eric
Eric
Weinstein.
Weinstein. Sorry, I know Harvey is the bad guy.
Harvey
My
Weinstein
bad.
is, and I mean, alleged bad guy.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that she was also commenting that, a lot of people in the scientific community shoot him down, and she has her own qualms with what he's done in his theories, but at least he's trying to come up with something that's original. Like, you can't shoot people down for that. It's better to point out and say, look, because of this and this, we see flaws in your logic or in your research. But I guess that's what we're talking about now, is that we've come to the point, even in scientific communities, which are supposed to be avant-garde in this kind of
Yeah,
field, in these topics, are traditional now. They no longer have really breakthrough ideas, and they shoot anyone down who, says something um,
I
differently.
feel that when things become organized, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with organization, but when things become organized, they sort of take on a life of their own, where people want to like. It's more about keeping the organization that has almost become this organism alive.
Yes.
Um, so this is what this is what we know. This is what we studied. This is what got us our tenure. Um, even using that correctly. Um, and with, I mean, what do they call them? Socialites, right? Where you have like these people of academia who they go and have these parties and oh, that theory you wrote on quantum theory is fascinating. Yes, and I heard you talking about it on JRE. Wow, and it's like this. But then they go and they talk to the next person and they hate that guy, and it's like a weird thing, like this elitist thing, and they themselves know, oh, the common man, he doesn't get this stuff. Like, there's no point in even trying to speak to him. We speak our own language. So immediately, it, you have these like elitists in these sort of organizations or basically academia, and then they want to hold on to it, right? They want to make the breakthroughs. They aren't open to someone else who's didn't go through the routes that they went through, Yale or
Yes.
whatever, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
fraternities and those
You're
types of
absolutely right. I
things.
mean, that's why AI, for example, is still making breakthroughs in academia, but those ideas are quickly taken to the private sector where they are then fleshed out. And and a lot of these papers in AI anyway, you'll see that it's
Fleshed out is
usually,
such a crazy term.
yeah, it's usually funded, or it's got participants from like Microsoft, Google, you know, um,
Yeah,
major
because it's about
players.
funding, right?
Yes, funding. It's about funding.
Like if I have certain ideas, like, and I have the money, am I really going to fund something that I don't really care about?
Yeah. No, you're not.
But I mean, so obviously this Sabrina chick is, I mean, I guess
Sabina, she's
she makes a
German.
good point.
Yes, she makes a
Yeah,
good
that
point.
one.
Anyway,
She
brother,
makes a good point.
I think we should put a peg in this for now because we can
It's a
go
wild
on for a
term.
long
I
time.
know. What are we at now, time wise? Just
We're going for 2 hours 27 minutes. So I would say goodbye. Um, I would also suggest, if there's anything crazy that happens, always comment so that we can, because we love this kind of brain
no.
fodder. We love this kind of fodder.
I don't. I don't know. You read the comments. I don't even. But anyways,
But I love
what I'm
anything
saying
that
is
might be
that.
interesting. Like I love any link to a paper, anything like that at all. Um, yeah, I'm always
But
looking.
anyways, look, no, it's around this like our usual time. That's why I'm saying, oh, okay, cool. Because it felt a bit shorter, but I'm like, oh, it actually went on way longer than I
It's that
thought.
whiskey you were drinking
Um,
there. It just you blacked out
yeah,
for 20 minutes. You're just rambling on about, and that's when they got me. That's when they got me.
dude, you're the one who opened up with Credo
Dude,
and
you don't
the
even know. You didn't
Chitauri.
even let me finish the craziest credo stories. But that's for another time. We'll bring them in as is
You
required.
literally finished the Credo story when you said it was a racist white guy in Joburg,
I'm pretty sure I didn't say
and then
that.
you did. You said when I said, "Isn't there a guy who was lying on the tables?" I was asking more questions about it, and then you were like, "He used the K word," and then you stopped there, and we had to go on to something else. But I was asking, how does he know? Like, what happened with that guy on the table? Like, I wanted to know more about it. because it means that if you really think about it, there's a lot more people who could have the same story from that exact place where he was.
Bingo. Next time we're going to talk about this mass sighting that happened at a school in Zimbabwe back in 1990 something. Um, dozens of kids, all at the same time, saw what we would call an unidentified flying object, and then with figures actually coming out. And several of the kids, this happened in Zimbabwe. I'll find the name. I don't want to just butcher this whole story, but basically it was during break time. Teachers were inside, and suddenly they just heard kids screaming, but like a type of screaming that like made the hair stand up, and they ran out, and the kids were traumatized, and several of them were like,
uh,
this thing was standing there like short, and it was like communicating with us, and suddenly we started seeing like the earth burning, and like it was like a warning. It was warning us that like this is what will happen to the planet if you don't watch out. And several kids all describing the
oh,
same thing, and there was a
really?
Harvard professor who went there eventually to investigate, and psychology professor, and he came back to the conclusion that whatever these kids saw, they're definitely not lying. Like, they're not lying. He doesn't know what they saw, but
Even
whatever
if
they
it was
saw,
like a delusion, they definitely saw something.
they definitely believe they saw it, and they all have similar stories, same drawings, same everything.
But wasn't that in like a documentary
It was in
with
a
like a bunch of other
documentary.
sightings?
Yeah, and anyway, that's the kind of stuff we have to put together. Like, we can't just put our heads down and pretend like that's not happening. I mean,
But
it's
here's the thing.
difficult
I know
to
I'm
know.
trying to stretch this out, but I just want to ask a question. Do you, what do you want to be true? If you could pick any of all the different stuff from the Bible to evolution to Anunnaki,
What
which
would
is the
I
one that you would
want to be
prefer
true?
to be the truth?
Prefer? I would prefer the Bible story.
Okay.
I would prefer,
Which, yeah.
but prefer does not mean that that's what it has to be, because I've told you this before. I don't know why we do this as people, but I think it's because we're not very smart somehow, on average. But when we get a written account from someone or from people who have taken the time to write it down, even if you don't believe everything, you have to ask yourself, why did they take the time to write this down? And what is it that they saw? So I like to put this example forward. If I took you, for example, you are not a trained astrophysicist. You're not even a scientist, correct, Mikey?
No, I'm not.
You're not. So, what if today an angel or being comes to you, a being comes to you and is like, yo, Mikey, I want to show you something crazy. And then it takes you, and suddenly you're like in the void of space. And then, however it manages to do this, shows you in super HD, it's not even on a TV, like you're in it, you're immersed, shows you the entire creation of the universe up until the day that human beings first walked the earth, right? Shows you everything. And then you come back here, and I'm like, yo, Mikey, how was yesterday? And then you try to explain to me what just happened. How would it sound? I mean, you're not an astrophysicist. You're not going to be talking
It would
about,
sound just as insane as everything else I've been saying this podcast.
yeah, like you're not going to be there talking about, you're going to use terms wrong. You might say things like, I saw a wheel within a wheel and the wings were facing this way. It's like, you don't know what you saw. How are you going to describe it? right? And if you now consider someone thousands of years ago who didn't even have terms like quantum or physics or a car or even the notion of an electronic device, right? Even the notion of the sun is actually a ball of gas. Like, what are you expecting the story to sound like? You're going to have it sound like Chariots of Fire, um, the gods, uh,
Yeah,
and
whatever
there
you
was a
can relate
light.
it to, you'll do
Exactly.
it. You'll describe it as
You
that.
see, so I always say to myself, if you try to take it as a word by word literal thing, then you're stupid because you're not understanding that someone is trying to communicate something that may be so difficult for them to even comprehend, or they don't even comprehend it, but now they're trying to retell you something. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, I don't know, but if I had to choose what I'd want to believe, the easiest, the one that would allow me just to live my life like a happy idiot and go to bed and go to work and come back and all of that, it would be the Bible story, as we know
Hmm.
it, as we understand it, without all the Anunnaki and UAPs, because UAPs, they just, but it's exciting as well. Let me not lie to you. It's exciting that the world is more complex, or seemingly more complex than we thought. For me, but I know it unsettles many people. But for me personally, I appreciate it. I don't shy away from it. I say, yeah, let's find out the whole truth. Let's all go crazy together. If we're gonna just
A
lose
perfect
ours,
ending.
yeah,
Yeah, that was a good speech. That's
little
why it was an
monologue.
interesting question. But yeah, well, we ended there, brother. It was a good chat. I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting listen back, but that was fun. It was
That was
like
fun.
fun.
You wanna do a two
Uh,
minute?
anyways, let's do a young 2 minutes, as you call it. I don't know. I don't understand this young slang thing. You must tell me about that sometime.
What do you mean? You're like
Um,
you're the one who's like 19 years old. You can tell me all about it.
no, I'm saying you always say like you put young before something.
Yeah, it just
It's like
means like a brief. In this
it's like
instance,
some
again,
type of
we
slang.
yeah,
Oh, so it's like a short instance
yeah,
is a young.
yeah.
Okay. No, because I'm saying it is like some type of slang, and I was just wondering, is that what the kids are saying these
I
days?
believe
Like,
so. I believe so. That's what I'm hearing on the
you
tram.
want, you've you've been eating the goy slop on tick trough, right? Because it's a trough.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
um, so I'm just
Literally.
gonna, so I'm just gonna say thank you. We'll start. Just be still. Have an inner listening ear. You can obviously switch off now if you want to, just for the dust to settle. And then we'll leave. Thanks. Thank you.